At precisely 7:14 a.m., the waiting area in Terminal G buzzed with a familiar energy, an organized whirlwind of hurried travelers. Gate 42B had just opened for the flight to San Francisco, and a steady stream of first-class passengers began to form a line, each one clutching their golden tickets with an air of quiet pride. Captain Julia Knight, 45, walked toward the gate with the surety of someone who knew the space around her would bend to her will. Her uniform was crisp, her posture straight, and her eyes carried the weight of someone accustomed to command. Julia wasn't just the one piloting the plane. She commanded every inch of the airport terminal. Authority wasn't a role. It was an atmosphere she created from the moment she stepped through the doors. As she neared the line, her eyes briefly scanned the crowd. A couple of businessmen, sharply dressed and checking their watches, were acceptable. An older couple with expensive luggage passed by. But then, her gaze lingered on one particular figure. A woman in her late 40s, medium build, dressed in well-worn jeans and a simple black jacket, stood at the front of the line with her phone in one hand and a sturdy backpack slung over her shoulder. Her boarding pass, glowing brightly in her hand, displayed seat 1, a seat typically reserved for crew members, elite passengers, or frequent flyers. Julia's brow furrowed. This didn't feel right. The woman didn't have the look of someone accustomed to the luxury of first class. No designer bags, no wide grin, no subtle air of exclusivity. She appeared to be standing in line like any other traveler, calm, collected, and too poised for someone who belonged there. This bothered Julia more than she cared to admit. Without slowing her pace, she approached the woman. This line is for priority passengers. Economy is that way. The woman, her expression unfazed, responded evenly. I'm aware. I'm flying first class. Julia wasn't convinced. Let me see your boarding pass. The woman handed it to her without hesitation, and Julia quickly scanned it. Her gaze fixed on the seat number, 1A. She raised her eyes to meet the woman's. That seat is typically restricted. It's for crew members or very high-status customers. The woman's calm reply, though soft, carried an undeniable weight. I booked it myself. Julia took a step closer, her voice low but firm. If you're trying to avoid any issues, I suggest you step aside. The woman didn't flinch. She merely raised an eyebrow, then let the words hang in the air. I don't make issues, Captain. I handle them. Julia dropped the boarding pass to the floor and signaled the gate agent. Confirm this. If there's any issue, make sure the system flags it. The woman, whose name was Maya Ellis, simply stepped to the side and placed herself near a window, her stillness almost unnerving. The sunlight brushed across her face, as if she were untouched by the scene unfolding around her. Maya wasn't nervous. She was composed. She wasn't there to be questioned. She was there to expose something. She knew her presence was more than just her seat assignment. Minutes passed before Greg Tanner, an airport supervisor, appeared, clipboard in hand. He was flanked by a gate agent, who was visibly unsure. Ma'am, we just need to verify your reservation. Is there an issue with my ID? Maya asked calmly. No, Greg said, flustered. We've had some issues with fraudulent upgrades recently. Just a formality. Maya's eyes locked onto his. You think I hacked your system? Greg stammered, but before he could respond, a whisper drifted from a nearby passenger. Probably a scam ticket. Maya's expression remained unchanged. We'll need to move you to the main cabin for now, Greg said, a hint of authority in his voice. I'm not moving, Maya replied, without a shred of hesitation. Greg looked momentarily taken aback. Julia intervened. Last chance. Move, or you won't make this flight. Maya did nothing but reach for her phone. A swift swipe of her finger, one quick call. Greg blinked. What does that mean? It means, Maya said, her voice steady. You just made this personal. At that moment, two TSA officers appeared. Officer Rivers, tall and composed, approached Maya. Ma'am, we just need a moment to speak with you. Maya raised her head, cool and composed. Am I being detained? No, Rivers replied, eyeing the situation carefully. From behind them, Maya spoke up, her voice not raised, but carrying authority. There was no issue until you noticed a black woman in line for 1A. A long, tense silence followed. Julia's face reddened as she tried to regain control. Maya's calm, unwavering presence was almost enough to rattle her. Without warning, Julia snatched Maya's boarding pass from her hand. She's a threat, revoking her boarding privileges. Greg, now visibly distressed, stepped in. You can't do that. You're not authorized. I'm the captain of this flight, Julia snapped. But before she could react further, Maya spoke again, this time with an edge. You just assaulted a paying passenger on camera, in front of TSA. It's all on record. Officer Rivers intervened quickly, taking control of the situation. Step back, Captain. We need to handle this. Maya, unfazed, pulled out a sleek, official-looking badge. I'm a federal investigator, and I've been monitoring your behavior for months. Now, I have all the proof I need. A tense silence hung over the scene, and then it broke. No one defended Julia. Greg, unsure, stepped back. Maya turned to face him with a quiet, confident smile. Rebecca Lane, a senior supervisor, appeared at that moment. Ma'am, would you like to file an official report? Yes, Maya said firmly. And every witness needs to make sure their statements are on record. Julia, unable to hold onto her composure any longer, slammed her hand on the desk and stormed away. No one followed her. Rebecca turned to Maya. Ready to reboard? Maya nodded. But first, let's make sure the paperwork is done correctly. As they walked down the terminal, whispers rippled through the crowd. The murmurs of passengers swirled with curiosity, admiration, and a little fear. Later, as the plane ascended, passengers learned the truth. Maya wasn't just a traveler. She was part of a federal initiative targeting systemic abuse in the airline industry. And that day, she delivered a message, not through grand gestures, but through steady determination. After landing, it wasn't just the flight that had changed. A system had been exposed and a career toppled. The news spread quickly. Hashtags like #SkyJustice trended, and by the time Maya returned to her office, the damage was done. When she sat at her desk, a new letter caught her eye. I've been watching you. I stayed silent. I won't be next. It went into a pile, another message, another case. Maya understood that change often didn't roar. Sometimes, it simply sat quietly in the first-class seat and waited for the world to catch up. Maya's quiet defiance on that flight wasn't just a victory for her. It was a turning point. Her calm determination exposed the cracks in a system that relied on unchecked power and blind assumptions. By standing her ground, she not only toppled a career, but also ignited a movement, one that would echo through the industry and beyond. It was a reminder that real power doesn't need to shout. It simply waits for the right moment. That moment had arrived. Through her actions, Maya proved that sometimes all it takes is a single person, standing firm, to shift the course of an entire system. Her journey had just begun, and the world, now more aware, was ready to listen.